After over 2 years of watching DSLR camera reviews with DP Review, Peter Gregg, Tony and Chelsea Northrop, Matt Granger, and trying to work out the pros and cons of what's on the market, we've gone full circle and ended up getting a Canon 70D. The reason I chose the 70D was cost and its dual pixel focus. Right now, 1080p is perfect for the content we are making for YouTube. The main reservation I had all along with all DSLRs, except for the GH5 with its firmware update, is the 29 minutes 59 second recording time limit. I knew the Canon 70D had Wi-Fi. I was optimistic that by upgrading to the current firmware, this might be something they fixed, so I could use the Android app for start-stop video to solve my issue. They didn't. I then went down the road of getting a wireless remote shutter to find you can't start-stop video with the shutter or reassign the shutter button in the camera. I then did more research and found the Canon RC6. This unit will start-stop video, but you have to be in front of the camera and within 5 to 6 meters with a clear line of sight in order for the remote to work. This is no use to us. At CA3 Studios, we record live concerts. Since mid-2018, we have been recording a series of classical music concerts each week. Last autumn, we introduced 6 newer G1 action cameras into our workflow to enable us to get into the editing process and overcome all the pitfalls with a few baby steps. It's been good to see the results and how it's been received by the artists we record. Now we know it's worth further investment in DSLR cameras. The Canon 70D has been a good place to start. Having now come up with this modification, we now have a system that can control multiple Canon cameras with the press of just one button. Over a period of time, we can now replace the action cameras with DSLR cameras and Canon lenses. The components used in this modification are the newer NW860 RX transmitter and receiver and the newer TX8 infrared remote control. The Canon RC6 remote control is not usable for this modification. Looking at the circuit board on screen, the printed circuit tracks are embedded in carbon and impossible to make a soldered connection with. The newer TX8 has conventional copper tracks, and attaching 2 cables with solder is really straightforward. The enclosure used in this modification is made of ABS. At the bottom right is the infrared emitter from the TX8. Looking at the design on screen, it will be evident the TX8 switch contacts connected to the 3-volt relay is not conventional. Normally, this circuit would be a normally opened circuit. One of the issues I had when working through this modification was having the ability to wake the camera from standby and then being able to operate the TX8 remote with the same button. The Canon camera wakes only on the shutter button. If the shutter button and TX8 send a signal to the camera simultaneously, the camera ignores both signals. The workaround after looking at the TX8 was, when you press the TX8 transmitter and hold the button down, it actually only sends one pulsed signal. It doesn't continue sending a signal, nor does it draw any current once the signal has been sent. When the shutter button is activated on the transmitter on the timer setting, the relay closes the circuit for a split second and operates the shutter button on the camera. Then, the relay closes and operates the TX8, sending a record infrared signal to the camera. Waking the camera has to be done with the timer selected on the remote. If you use single shoot on the remote control, this happens. Once the camera is awake, you can switch over to single shoot mode on the remote for a quicker video start-stop. I actually find the 4-second timer on the remote useful for wake up and video start-stop, as it gives you an indicated visual signal that the shutter will close and open in 4 seconds time. The jack output which connects into the Canon camera uses just 2 of the 3 wires. The connections used for operating the shutter are the ring and the tip of the jack only. The input jack from the remote shutter is wired as 0 volts to the ground pin. A ring and tip need to be bridged together and connected to the 0 volt side of the coil on the relay. To download this drawing, you will find the link in the description below. If you have found this video of interest and want to keep up with what we're doing, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching.